Good evening, everyone. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we have roll call, please?
Supervisor McGlasson?
Here.
Councilwoman Campbell?
Present.
Councilman Totori?
Here.
Councilman Ruthven?
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Okay. I'm going to make a motion to add something to the agenda for the Highway Department for material bids for 2023.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I invite our Highway Superintendent, Richie Athmer, up here to discuss. Yeah. I know you want to go home.
Past your bedtime.
I don't have the paperwork in front of me, but
You want this?
do you have something?
You can take mine. I have it on my phone. I'll look on my phone, you do that.
My phone has that.
I know your phone doesn't have that, trust me.
Maybe you should get that for Christmas.
He doesn't want that. I said,
You want me to do work, or you want me to stare at my phone all the time?
Go ahead, tell us why you're up here.
Okay, the heating oil, that's basically the state bid, or BITO, however you pronounce it. The road salt, I just go off the state bid every year. I don't even bother bidding it, I just, best deal. The wash highway sand, Harlem Valley, once again, which is good. Summer blacktop, Peckham and Dale came in pretty damn close. One's lower with this type, the other's, and Dale is over on Route 9 in Cold Spring, so we're working in Western Kent, we can haul from there, and usually we just haul from the old Camarcos in Carmel. Winter mix, that's just the cold patch. Blacktop in place this year is Keck Construction. They won the bid about 7 or 8 years ago, but they're back again. Plastic pipe is Tremont and Expanded Products, awarded to both of them. Again, there's so many different items. One guy's 15 cents lower than the other guy on a 15-inch pipe, but then it's the reverse with an 18-inch pipe. So I usually get my big orders from Tremont, and then the small orders we get from Expanded over in Cold Spring. Cones and signs, Tremont, again, I'll do my bulk orders. And Glencoe, I've been using them. They're a little more expensive, but if I need an emergency sign or sign replacement right away, Glencoe's down in Hopac, and they'll have it there in a couple of days. So if it's a safety issue, I use them. Crushed limestone, Putnam Materials over in Patterson. Crushed bluestone is Stale and Wingdale. Again, the hand tools and package at Home Depot and Tractor Supply. Again, if you spend under $20,000 according to the state procurement law, you don't have to go out for competitive bids. So, they used to go out for shovel prices and everything, so you don't have to do that. Plow blades, Tremont, guide rail, Tremont, catch basins, again, Tremont and Expanded Supply. I get my big orders from Tremont. Same thing with the grates. It's funny, some of them will sell one company will sell the concrete catch basin, but they won't sell the grate for it, and the other one sells the grate for it. It's a little crazy. Tree work, Zipkin, it was a 2-year contract. So Zipkin, we don't have to bid him until next year. Fred Adams Jr. for the rock ledge removal, he's got the drill and the chemicals he uses to pop the rocks. And the grinder, that's the tub grinder for the landfill. I didn't bid that, but I think it's, Lon, is it a 2-year bid?
That was a 2-year bid also.
That's a 2-year bid.
Right.
Yeah, and the landfill, we're pretty far ahead of the game now with, everything's grinded up, so hopefully we don't have to really use it this year. And we have the windrows down there. Everything that was grinded up from this year and the last year is all stacked on the windrows down there. So we're just cleaning up. We're still hauling out the old Lake Carmel leaves, which I'm using on roadside projects for shoulders. But the DEC had to get us, they wanted all those leaves gone that have been stacked up there for years. We saw the fire over in Patterson
Yeah.
2 years ago, so we're in the middle of removing that, but we're making good use of it. And that's it. Any questions?
No? Anyone else? Public comment? So this, we don't have a resolution, but this is the one that we had from last time, so I don't know if you want to, oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Just this one here. All right. I'd like to make a motion to pass a resolution accepting bids for highway materials, whereas the town of Kent advertised for bids for prices of highway materials to be effective from January 1st, 2023 until December 31st, 2023, and whereas bids were received and opened publicly, read at the Kent Highway Garage, and whereas the Highway Superintendent Othmer has reviewed the bids and recommends awarding bids for materials to the lowest bidders as set forth on the summary document annexed hereto and incorporated herein. Now therefore be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Highway Superintendent Othmer, the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby accepts the bids for highway materials for 2023 as set forth on the summary annexed hereto. I make this motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is our outreach worker from the Office for Senior Resources. We just need to renew our contract for the January 1st, 2023 through December 31st, 2023. It's the outreach works with seniors that are 60 years or older for a minimum of 12 and a half hours per week, and we give the county $2,500 a year for that service. So we just have to renew our contract with them. Anyone have any questions? $2,500?
$2,500. Good?
Yeah, that's the one wants to read it.
Make a motion to adopt a resolution to approve an intermunicipal agreement for an outreach worker. Whereas pursuant to the New York General Municipal Law, Article 5-G, local governments are authorized to enter into municipal cooperation agreements. And whereas the town of Kent wishes to enter into an intermunicipal agreement with the county of Putnam to provide an outreach worker to seek out and assist residents of the town who are over the age of 60 years in exchange for the sum of $2,500, as set forth in the proposed agreement attached hereto and hereby made a part hereof. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby approves the attached intermunicipal agreement and the payment of the sum of $2,500 in exchange for the outreach worker, and be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent authorizes the town supervisor to execute the attached agreement and any documents necessary to give effect to this resolution. I hereby make the motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Our next item on the agenda is to accept 2 resignations for the Lake Carmel Park District Advisory Board. Regrettably, Jeannie Garbarino and Jerry Jacobs are resigning from the Lake Carmel Park District Advisory Boards. And we also then need to advertise for new members for the board.
Okay.
Want to read it?
Yeah. I make a motion to adopt a resolution accepting the resignation of members and advertising for new members of the Lake Carmel Park District Advisory Board. Whereas the town of Kent wishes to accept the resignations of Jeannie Garbarino and Jerry Jacobs as members of the Lake Carmel Park District Advisory Board. And whereas the Town Board of the Town of Kent wishes to advertise for applicants for the vacant positions on the Lake Carmel Park District Advisory Board. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board accepts the resignation of Jeannie Garbarino and Jerry Jacobs as members of the Lake Carmel Park District Advisory Board with thanks for their service, and be it further resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Kent hereby authorizes its town clerk, Yolanda D. Capelli, to advertise for applicants to the Town of Kent Lake Carmel Park District Advisory Board. I hereby make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Our next item on the agenda is our planning board resignation and advertisement. Do you want to talk about it? Here's the,
All right, so we've received a letter of resignation from Stephen Wilhelm on the planning board, regrettably. He won't be serving anymore on there. So I'd like to make a resolution accepting the resignation of a member and advertise for, have we advertised for the other member that resigned earlier on? We have 2 vacancies with him now,
We have, was advertised.
for Dennis Lowe's position.
Yes.
Have we advertised for an alternate for the planning board? We've always had one before, but we promoted our last alternate up onto the board at this point.
So we still have, this will still be another vacancy.
Yeah, but I'd like to advertise for a position and an alternate
And an
position,
alternate.
okay?
So you want it, when you
I'm
get
gonna
to
add that in
point,
there,
okay.
yes. I'd like to make a resolution to accepting the resignation of a member and advertising for a new member of the planning board, whereas the town of Kent wishes to accept the resignation of Stephen Wilhelm as a member of the planning board. Now therefore be it resolved, the town board accepts the resignation of Stephen Wilhelm as a member of the planning board and thanks him for his service. And be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Kent hereby authorizes its town clerk, Yolanda D. Capelli, to advertise to fill the vacancy on the planning board and for an alternate on the planning board. I make this motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I make a motion to add an item to the agenda for planning.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I received this after the agenda was sent out. It's from the planning board to accept a erosion control bond in the amount of $6,990 and an inspection fee in the amount of $1,000 for property 33-1-58.2. They voted unanimously for us to accept it, so I'm just gonna make the
Okay.
resolution. I make a motion to accept an erosion control bond in the amount of $6,990 and an inspection fee in the amount of $1,000 for the property 33-1-58.2. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. See, our next item on the agenda is a couple of employees of the town have vacation time left that they would like to roll over into 2024. Sheila Finneran is going to roll over 5 days. Jessica Edwards is going to roll over 24 hours, so 3 days. And Lisa Lynn DiPiero is going to carry over 3 vacation days. I just asked at the board.
That's not on this
So I
list.
know Lisa Lynn is not on there, I just came through it this afternoon.
Okay.
So. What did I do?
Yeah. How many days for
Yeah.
Lisa Lynn?
3.
3 days? Okay. I'd like to make a resolution authorizing carryover of vacation time, whereas by email dated December 13th, 2022, Jessica Edwards, Town of Kent, court clerk requested that her remaining 24 hours of vacation time be carried over into 2023. And whereas a letter dated December 16th, 2022, Sheila Fineran, Building Department Clerk, requested that her remaining 5 days of vacation time be carried over into 2023. And whereas Lisa Lynn DePiero has requested that 3 days be carried over into 2023. Whereas the town board wishes to authorize that the remaining vacation time for the year 2022 due to Ms. Edwards, Ms. Finneran, and Ms. DePiero be carried over into the 2023 calendar. Now therefore be it resolved that the town board authorizes to carry over the remaining vacation time of Ms. Edwards, Ms. Finneran, and Ms. DePiero as of December 31st, 2022 into the 2023 calendar year. I make this motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
They,
It's,
it was
there
due
is
to
no
ex-
contract.
There is none, and it was, a few of it was due to extenuating circumstances that they weren't able to use the vacation time. They had planned on it, but they're not going to be able to.
They have to use those days at a specific amount of time, like 3 months or?
Within 6 months.
6
Within
months.
6 months, they have to use up their,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Okay. Our next item on the agenda is our Kent PBA 4-year contract. Councilman Ruthven and myself sat through a lot of meetings, went over a lot of stuff, and we have come to an agreement with both sides, and we're asking tonight for the board to vote on the contract for 2023 through 2026. Does the board have any questions on this? I know I sent it around.
Good?
I'm good. Is everyone good?
No problem.
Ann, you want to take one?
Oh, sure. I make a motion to adopt a resolution to approve the memorandum of understanding with the Kent Police Benevolent Association. Whereas the town of Kent is party to a certain collective bargaining agreement, the CBA, between the town and the Kent Police Benevolent Association, the PBA, for a term commencing January 1st, 2019, and expiring on December 31st, 2022. And whereas the town and the PBA wish to amend and extend the collective bargaining as further detailed on the Memorandum of Agreement annexed hereto and incorporated herein by reference, the MOA, now therefore be it resolved that the town board of the town of Kent hereby approve the MOA, and be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Kent authorizes the town supervisor to execute the attached MOA and any other documents necessary to give effect to this resolution in a form satisfactory to the town supervisor and the town attorney. And be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Kent hereby approves and ratifies all acts heretofore taken by the town board, town supervisor, and any and all town officials in connection with the subject agreement. I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. I make a motion to add an item to the agenda for the courts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So we have court officers that work during court days, and unfortunately, due to illness and surgeries, we've been very shorthanded with our court officers. So when that happens, we have to call up police officers from the Kent PD, which results in overtime, and it's very costly to the town when we have to do that. So they are asking us to hire Andrew Kanash as a part-time court officer. He's been background checked, everything's done with him, but they're just asking us to add him so that they have another person on their court officer list. Any comments? No.
I don't have any problem with him. I know him. I believe he's a retired Kent police officer.
Right, Tara? He's a retired Kent PD?
Oh?
Yeah, his dad was
Why did-
retired. Kent.
His father was
Yeah.
Kent PD.
Oh,
Oh, was his name the same name?
Yes.
That's why I'm getting confused. Okay.
The son goes by Drew.
Oh, I know Drew. I
Yeah.
know him. I actually talked to him on the phone this morning.
Andy was
I just didn't know
my
that was
Kent
his name.
Rec football coach,
Okay,
so I'm old. Don't shake your head.
sounds good.
any public comment?
You got a
Want me to just,
resolution?
no, so I'm just gonna,
Wing it.
I make a motion to hire Andrew Kanash as a part-time court officer for our court, starting immediately, pending any other checks or whatever that has to be done with him. I make that motion.
Second.
All in
Is there
favor?
any question about do we have to say what the salary is or any of that?
It's standard
Great,
for,
okay, thanks.
all in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, who did the second?
Chris,
Me and Jorma
Yeah,
said
Chris
it
beat me to it.
simultaneously, but I was louder.
do we have to do rock, paper, scissors?
Yeah.
I always lose that.
All right, everyone, buckle up, because now it's time for the vouchers. Everyone should sit back. You're going to be here a while.
Yeah.
Actually, before we do, Chris,
Oh.
did you want to talk about what was happening with Stephanie Hubert and Cornell? You
Yeah,
said
do
we
we-
might do that as a discussion item?
Yes, so we have a proposal from Cornell Cooperative Extension, and I'm going to introduce it, but you're going to talk about it. So we have a proposal from Cornell Cooperative Extension to do our food securities program that we have targeted with some of our our ARPA funding, and Ann has had a couple of meetings. I was just in on the last one with Cornell Cooperative Extension to actually spearhead that program for us, which I think is a fantastic idea because it falls right into some of their programming that they already do. And I'll let Ann take it from there with some more details about it, but I support it 100%.
So I think Chris has pretty much covered it. About a year ago, we got word of the proposal that Phillipstown was developing for food security in their community. And I basically piggybacked from what they were doing and had conversations with Cornell Cooperative Extension along the way. Food security is a big part of CCE's mission at this time, and they have avenues of funding that they may be able to seek in the future through USDA and other sources to make these kinds of programs sustained in the long run. And so the idea was to have a pilot program, about a 2-year duration, working on the entire food security network, everything from subsidizing farmers to produce foods for the communities, to having meals being prepared and frozen and distributed through freezers available in the community. Just a whole lot of different avenues. It involves hiring a coordinator, having transportation for the food, being able to work with grocery stores and other organizations that are required now by law to make sure these food doesn't get wasted and so forth. So we went out on a limb and applied for this and were approved ultimately for this to be funded with ARPA funds through the county. But at the same time, I know I had some trepidation about, boy, if we get this, how are we going to implement it? Who will be the people with the expertise to make sure that this gets done and done properly? So I was really quite excited when I heard back from the staff at Cornell that they are interested in basically subcontracting with the town to implement that grant and to work in concert with other communities and ultimately see if we can get this to be a county-wide sustained program in the long run. So the first step would be to develop a memorandum of understanding between Cornell Co-op Extension and the town to administer the grant program. And they are now working to develop that memorandum of understanding, which will then be reviewed by the board. And presumably we'll be looking at that probably at our second meeting in January. Also, if I may I give a quick update on Climate Smart?
Yeah, of course.
So you may remember we had a presentation a few months ago from the students at Vassar College who developed our greenhouse gas inventories. And at that point, they had just completed their summer project, and it was still, I think, essential that that work get vetted out a little more carefully. That's being done this fall, still under the auspices of our grant that we had supported with them. We had obtained $5,000 from NYSERDA through our community solar campaign to fund that work. In the end, we had originally planned to sign on to an organization called ICLEI, which helped to support the effort and provide software. And we had budgeted for 2 years of membership in ICLEI, but we've determined that we don't need that. So there are some funds left over. And I do have a proposal now from the Vassar faculty who organized this program with the students and supervised them to extend the work a little bit further, which would use up that remaining $1,000 of the grant. So I have to run this by our Climate Smart committee. But the idea is that they would start working on the next step, which is a climate action plan. So they might do some calculations to demonstrate, for example, how much money could the town save if we electrified certain vehicles in our fleet, and which ones would be the ones to target, or other kinds of things that we might want to sort of go for first in developing a climate action plan to not only reduce our energy usage, but to save the town money. So I will be working with the Climate Smart Committee on this, and then if we need to, we'll bring it back to for a vote on at the town board level, because we would be using the funds slightly differently than was originally planned. So I will keep you posted on that. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
And I'm going to put you on the spot one more time. Could you update the public on where we are with the natural resource inventory and the grant that we got from there?
Okay. So the Natural Resource Inventory Program was actually funded by New York State DEC. That is a step towards Climate Smart certification, but it's also a good thing to do from a planning standpoint. So the idea with the NRI, as many of you have heard, is that we have a document that has a great deal of information, soils, hydrology, other kinds of natural resources, land uses, and history of land use in the town and so forth, native species, species of concern, lots of information that can then be a guide for planning efforts. If we're going to redo or update our Kent Comprehensive Plan at some point in the future, this document will provide guidance. Obviously, the planning board will use it extensively. So we have a steering committee that works with Hudsonia. Hudsonia is the nonprofit organization with experts in this field they're actually developing the inventory, but they meet monthly with our committee, and we have representatives from the town board, Climate Smart, Conservation Advisory Committee, Kent Historical Society, and the planning board. And also Bruce Barber, our environmental consultant. So we've been having dialogue back and forth, working on editing the first draft of the document. We hope to be able to share a later draft of the document early next year. We had made a request for photographs to put into that inventory, and that's been publicized widely, and we're grateful for the photos we have received. And in the near future, we might also want to think about another crowdsourced idea to have people tell us about scenic locations in town. One of the things that we would like to document in that, either in the NRI or in the future, is what are the important views or areas in town that we would want to say, let's make sure that if we build something here, we're not going to put things right on the top of this particular hillside. That's going to spoil the view that everybody loves, if perhaps they could be moved over just a little bit to make it more attractive and so forth. So we might be putting out a query to ask people to give us maybe GPS coordinates and photos of your favorite views in town as you drive around on the public byways. Not something from your backyard that nobody else can see, but the places that we all go. So we'll be back in touch in the future. We also have a biodiversity inventory that's being done by 2 volunteer biologists. They've been working very hard, and that information is going to be integrated in the NRI, which makes it unique compared to what these documents normally look like. So they're exploring, as we mentioned, different species that live here in the town, some things that might be rare or unusual. We kind of want to know what's here and do what we can to try to ensure that those things stay around, even as we proceed with various kinds of development projects. So I think that's all I have. Other questions? Okay, thanks.
So I've been trying to put this off as long as I can. When I read vouchers, I usually get a little bit out in front of one page. Today, they gave me one of those extra long pages, and they put some on the back I gotta read too. So, are you ready? Here they come.
Are you ready?
No. I asked the board to approve the following vouchers for December 20th, 22 that were above the threshold. Allstate V 3.0 Inc., $2,704 for recreation electric. Atlantic States Lubricants, $3,810.39 for mobile oil. Beacon Recycling, $4,149.59 for Lake Carmel Recycling. $3,345.70 for Lake Carmel Recycling. Semco, $3,914.39 for Water District Number 2. Civic Plus, $3,824.54 for the annual hosting and support. City Carding, $6,365.67 for Lake Carmel Garbage, also $9,973.54 for Lake Carmel Garbage, and $24,686.74 for Lake Carmel Garbage. Custom Bandage, $4,905.02 for tires. That doesn't sound good that we're putting bandages on tires. Daily Builder, Dolly Builder, $7,185 for concrete walls. Danbury Auto Spring and Welding, $8,578.02 for highway truck repair. Deer Credit, $20,142.34 for the backhoe lease. Digital Surveillance Solutions, $55,492.65 for LPR equipment for the police. Duke Fence, $13,240 for the Route 311 fence for Lake Carmel. Edmunds Government, or GovTech, $4,410 for tax collection maintenance. Global Montello Group, $6,965.41 for diesel, and $10,195.24 for diesel, and $6,724.60 for diesel. Hogan and Rossi, $5,416.63 for legal services for November, and $5,416.63 for legal services for December. Insight Engineering, $2,581.68 for the walking path and the Ryans Park driveway. Labella Associates. All right, this entire list I'm about to read is all Labella Associates. They all have to do with Lake Carmel, and they all have to do with the FEMA funding, or the FEMA engineering that we did as a pre-inspection engineering for all the different FEMA projects from the storm that made a lot of damage in Lake Carmel. So I'm just going to read down through them. $4,350 for storm damage for Beach 2. $4,350 for storm damage for Beach,
For the bridge.
that's the bridge? Oh, for the bridge, I'm sorry, my eyes are getting
Here,
crossed.
put it down and put this on there, that way you can follow.
All right, for the bridge. $4,350 for storm damage for Beach 3. $4,350 for storm damage for the boat launch. $4,350 for storm damage for Barrett Hill. $4,350 for storm damage to the basketball court. $4,350 for storm damage to Terry Hill. $4,300, when I say Terry Hill, that's the shoreline along Terry Hill. It's not the road, it's a county road. $4,350 for storm damage to the fishing dock. $4,350 for storm damage to Beach 2, 3, 4, and 7. $2,650 for Beach 2, 3, 4, and 7.
So the ones you read first were the October bill. We hadn't paid them for a while because they hadn't been producing the reports that we needed, so we held the bills until we received everything. So those that you just read first were the October bills. Now you're into the September bills.
Oh, I see. $2,650 for the fishing dock, $2,650 for Terry Hill, $2,650 for the basketball court, $2,650 for Barrett Hill, $2,650 for the boat launch, $2,650 for Beach 3, $2,650 for the bridge, $2,650 for Beach 2, $2,225 for Beach 2, 3, and 7 for July now. We're on to July. $2,225 for the fishing dock, $2,225 for Terry Hill, $2,225 for the basketball court, $2,225 for Barrett Hill, $2,225 for the boat launch, $2,225 for Beach 3, $2,225 for the bridge, $2,225 for Beach 2. So that's it for Labella. And we submit all that to
Yep.
FEMA and ask all that to be reimbursed through the FEMA.
Do you have a question on that?
Since we don't have a boat launch, where is this money going?
This is the engineering so that we can put back in the boat launches. This is what was destroyed with the hurricane and stuff. This is what, so eventually we
So-
will have it again.
So there's two different levels of engineering. This was what FEMA required as like an engineering evaluation of the damages that were done there and what would need to go forward. So our next step, and I'll talk about that when we get into an open comment here, is to go into the next step of engineering, which is construction engineering. So this wasn't. This was more like an analysis of the damages that we had to supply to FEMA as proof that these things were damaged.
So is this for the boat launch itself, or is this focusing on?
Not gonna be able to hear.
Excuse me?
Is the boat launch focusing at the spa beach?
There's two different small craft boat launches. One of them is at Beach 3, right off the parking lot where they come back down in that got completely washed out. The other is right next to the maintenance building, right off the parking lot. So Spa Beach, I don't know what Spa Beach is, I'm sorry.
And also,
Oh, that's called Spa Beach?
make sure that people know that we're getting reimbursed.
Yeah, so all of this will get turned into FEMA, and it's all reimbursed back to the town when we submit the entire FEMA claims for everything, okay? Moving on. Long Island sanitation equipment, $3,734.87 for sanitation truck parts. Magna 5 MS, $4,379.35 for network services. Metal building restoration, $357,500 for the application number 10. Millennium Strategies, $2,500 for grant services for May, $2,500 for grant services for October, $3,000 for grant services for November, $3,000 for grant services for December. Nikon Co., $2,846 for two-way radios for the police for November, $2,846 for the two-way radios for the police for December. New York State Department of Civil Service, $258,497.73 for health insurance for December. NYSEG, $3,341.21 for electric for the police department. Newtown Veterinary Specialist, $3,813.16 for hernia repair for our canine. Peckham Industries, $26,900.68 for blacktop. Purchase Power, $3,000 for postage. Putnam County Office of Senior Resources, $250 for the 2022 outreach services. Ring Squared, $3,449.91 for telephone service. Laura Roberts, $2,538 for our prosecutor for August, $2,538 for our prosecutor for June, $2,277 for our prosecutor for November. Royal Carting, $5,122.31 for recycling for garbage in October, and $5,377.02 for recycling garbage in November. Spain Agency, $77,067.01 for insurance installment. State Comptroller, $38,863 for Justice Court fines and fees. Superior Distributor, $6,173.68 for truck parts. Transaxle LLC, $8,854.35 for truck parts. Bonnie Cyber Weinstock, $2,600 for arbitration. Medicare reimbursements, $30,992.10 for fourth quarter. Town of Kent Municipal Repairs, $2,435.26 for chargebacks for the police for July, $20,785.32 for chargebacks for the Highway Department in August, $15,096.39 for chargebacks for the Highway Department in September, $5,552.36 for chargebacks for sanitation in August, $22,506.91 for chargebacks for Highway Department in November. Barton and LaJudas, $5,223.97 for the Lake Louise culvert. The remainder are for 2023 vouchers that were over the threshold. Civic Plus, $3,150 for recreation annual fee. Kent Fire Department District 1, $477,215 for their 2023 budget. Kent Manor Sewer Corporation, $110,256.07 for the 2023 sewer rent. New York State and local retirement, $1,032,569 for the 2023 annual retirement. PERMA, $192,520 for the 2023 contribution. I ask the board to approve the following as read.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good job.
Oh, yeah, I gotta have a glass of water after all that.
All right, I don't really have any announcements other than to wish everyone a happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and a happy, healthy 2023.
Ditto.
All right, I'd like to speak just briefly, get everybody updated on what's going on with Lake Carmel. I know there's been a lot of questions, and I believe, and the supervisor can reflect this, that we have gotten all our paperwork in and we're ready to move forward with the walking path.
Yes, and
which is good news for the
we've gotten
extension on the walking path.
Everything's signed, we're good to go.
Last Wednesday, we met with a new engineering company, one that the highway superintendent has been using for the Lake Louise Bridge, but on their staff, it's an engineering company that we already had on our pre-call bids that we're able to just call without going out to bid. They have a architect, which has came in and looked at the old town hall for us, which we've been talking about using our ARPA funding to turn into a center for the community to use, the food insecurity program, or food security program, and some additional office space for us as far as use for recreation and our seniors. So they're gonna be providing us with a proposal and architecture. They're gonna come back down and meet with us with their architect, take their measurements, sit down with us, and get some designs going. So our next phase in that will be coming up with some plans and designs. They also, from Barton and LaJudas, we went down and looked at the Lake Carmel walking bridge, which now we're into the construction engineering phase of. We've already have a bridge, so their job is going to be to help get us designs for the abutments that the bridge will sit on and get all the permitting in place for us to be able to go forward very quickly and get that bridge set. They also looked at the Lake Carmel dock bulkheads that had been just damaged in the storm, and they're gonna make engineering designs so we can go out to bid to have the bulkheads put in place. Some of our beaches did not have docks put back on them this year because we couldn't attach to them, including the beaches and the fishing dock. So those are all exciting things. We are moving forward. Again, those projects are covered under FEMA also. So I should give kudos to Heidi, our Lake Carmel Parks clerk. She's been in touch. She actually was on the phone with them on Wednesday. She's working with FEMA regularly and getting all of our billing and everything submitted into the portal and keeping up with everything that they're asking for. And so that whole process, I know it's slow and everybody's getting frustrated, but we're moving as fast as we can with FEMA. I gotta tell you, the person that they assigned to us originally from FEMA, I swear it's changed 4 times since we started this process. So it's like Groundhog's Day with
we
them all
always
over
get
again.
the new person.
Yeah,
That-
we
it's
gotta
like their
kind of
first
start from
day.
scratch with them all over again. And most of the stuff we have submitted, so we're like, no, just look back, you'll find it somewhere. We've already given it to you. But it's a little bit frustrating, but we're moving our way through it. Heidi is doing a fantastic job there, organizing it and keeping all the stuff put into the portal where it needs to go into. So hopefully by this summer and the spring, we start seeing some serious improvements around Lake Carmel. Yes.
So is that bridge is going to be a box culvert instead of just a culvert?
It's actually going to be a bridge with abutments on each side. It won't be a culvert at all. It won't have a bottom. It will have a natural bottom to it. It won't be a concrete completely around it. It'll have concrete abutments on each side with a steel-framed concrete top bridge that goes on it. When you see this, you're going to realize that this bridge will never, ever move again. Any other questions?
Any other public comment? Anything up here? Do we have a motion to go to executive session?
Yeah.
Comment or question?
Do you want to come up here to the microphone?
So this is unrelated to anything that's been covered?
Can you say your name and stuff into the microphone?
Yeah, it's Lisa Rossman. So I contacted Jamie about my concerns. So our water has been tested and it's contaminated with PFAS. So PFAS is per and. Oh, yeah. So I didn't say, I contacted Jamie about a month ago because our water has been tested and it's contaminated with PFAS. And I'm here because I want to request that the town sample the water at the Old Town Hall, at the new fire station, and at the old fire station, because at least the fire stations are a potential source of PFAS to the community. And having contacted the state, the 2 locations that the state has identified as potential sources is the fire department and the Fair Street landfill. But the Fair Street landfill is much further from our house than the fire stations. And at least I would like to, either know that they're a potential source or to rule out that it's a source. And that by having that information, maybe the state would take more interest in it, because the concern is that if it's in our water, it's probably in our neighbor's water. And it's not safe to drink really at any level. And until we have more information. We don't really know how widespread the contamination might be. And really, because we're on well water, it's really up to, at the moment, each individual property owner to put in treatment, and the treatment is not cheap. And in Mayapack, where, they found, where it's more extensive, they know that there's contamination, the state is actually putting in treatment in people's homes. So, if we can at least either identify what potential sources or rule out potential sources, then maybe that would, it's more information I can provide the state to help them, to get them more involved. Because right now, they're taking a hands-off approach.
Okay, a couple things on that. 100% we can test the old town hall, and we can test the Arts on the Lake, which is the old Lake
old fire
Carmel
station.
Fire Station. I think the new Lake Carmel Fire Station is probably gonna have to test herself, because we don't own that building. But we can test ones that are under our jurisdiction, which will be, certainly, we're gonna test the water in the old town hall as we're getting ready to
Right,
redevelop
it
this area.
sounds like you're going to be using. And we're just up the hill from that.
And I do have a question for you, because you said something that I was unaware of. Where is the Fair Street landfill?
Well, I wasn't aware of it either, but the Fair Street landfill is just on, it's on the other side of 84. It's an old landfill, it doesn't, it's not active anymore. But if you were to go, I just went there today to see where it is. So if you drive on 311, you turn at Fair Street, and you keep going, you go past the existing waste transfer station, and then somewhere off on the right, you can only find it on a map. You
Okay.
can't drive there anymore, as far as I can tell. If you can, I'm not sure how to get there. But it's 131 Commerce Street. So if you
Oh, I know
Goo-
where Commerce Street is.
Okay, so if you Google it,
It's up in that area.
it's up in that area, and the groundwater is moving southwest towards the wetland. And you look at the map that comes with the report, it looks like then it would be, it's not that far from Lady of the Lake.
Okay,
And we live just above the Old Town Hall.
okay. All right, well, that's interesting. I didn't know that existed.
So I actually was talking to Councilman-elect Sean Boyd today about this. Right, we were in my office and we talked about it. Do you want to come up and do you have anything to say? Sure. Not putting you on the spot or anything.
Our new resident water expert.
Yes.
Thank you. My name is Sean Boyd. Yes, elect councilperson. Actually, I was just in Las Vegas at a trade show out there, and I sat in a class for PFAS. I've gone to the DEC over in Mailpack when they had a thing over there this summer. I spoke with them. I've been to other classes on it. And I'm assuming the board will have a big discussion on it. But I feel like we've got a good handle on, at least I know, on what to do, for it. Testing's a good idea. Boyd Well Drilling, which is my dad, just drilled a brand new well, right, probably above where you live then, right behind there. So I was thinking today we should probably test that well, because it's brand new. And get some background on it, because if it's new and it's clean, and then a year from now or 5 years from now it has PFAS in it, then we could see some migratory issues with it. Well, out campaigning, knocking on doors, I saw there was a lot of hand-dug wells that used to be used around here back in the 40s, 50s, maybe even 60s. Some are probably actually even used today. A lot of them are just abandoned for regular drilled wells. Personally, I think that's probably one of the biggest sources of contamination right there, because they're basically these just holes, and people seem to throw stuff in them, like old paint cans, and Lord knows what else in there, right? And and that just goes right down into the groundwater. So we'll talk about, we'll have to figure out some monies to get, with state, federal, like you're talking about, to decommission those hand-dug wells, because personally I think that's where it comes from. I know you're talking about the fire department, because the thought is that the fire department is using foam, right? And at PFAS in it and whatnot. I don't think that this fire department really probably used that much. You find it more at airports, training centers, stuff like that, where they would spray it and it would be on the ground.
Right, but they're listed, if you go onto the state's PFAS website,
Yeah.
under the Class B fire foam,
on that site there. Okay, that's
And
very
the
possible.
address that's listed is the new fire station, but I would suspect it would have been used, since PFAS has been around since the 40s. It seems at least likely that it could have been used, there's a possibility that it's at least used at the old fire station. And I would think that if it was used, people would have been less careful then than now, and it just makes sense to test both.
Sure. Yep. And there is, so they call it the forever chemical, which kind of makes it a little bit of a scariness to it. And yes, it is very hard to destroy the compound itself. It's very residual, which is why they use it. But you can filter it actually with some ease. Carbon does a phenomenal job at removing it, and that's something that people can put in their homes, either themselves or hire a local contractor. When it's done in the home, there's very little restriction to like getting rid of the filter element itself. If it's done by the town or on a larger scale, then there may be restrictions on it. They're very expensive.
Right, but the filter systems to have them put in your homes are about $6,000, and then you have to test. You have to have a pre-sampling port, a sampling port between the two carbon chambers, and one after.
Yeah.
And then you have to test, and it costs about $275 a sample if you don't have a blank. So it costs, I just tested on there, and so it costs about $560 as a homeowner to do it. And if you're testing on a regular basis, that adds up. And then you have to replace the carbon. You have to have your dual systems, and you have to replace the carbon before it expires. And so
Well aware.
ideally, you want to find the source and eliminate the source, preferably beyond beyond a non-well or public water supply, because if all the homeowners have to do this,
It depends on how much PFAS is in the water and whatnot. Yeah, but 6,000 is like a way crazy number.
Ours is above drinking water standards.
But there's different
And the
standards.
state standard is 10 ppT for PFAS and PFOA, and ours is above gold.
Okay.
And then the EPA mentioned health advisories for 3 to 4 organic to be lower. And EPA is proposing them to be listed as pesticides.
Correct, right, which is why an individual does it, they may not fall into the category of having to dispose of it. So like if you're taking radon, looking at use carbon and taking radon, it's got to go to a special facility and it gets very expensive to deal with. So individually, it's a lot more expensive.
Great. Anything else?
I figured it was better to have him speak on it because he knows exactly what he's.
But, if you are interested in testing it or considering it, there are, the state has ELAC, so they're licensed part of the environmental laboratory accreditation program. The only one that I found in New York that is accredited is York Analytical. And I picked up the bottles, the sample bottles in Connecticut, but I drove them to Richmond Hill in Queens. And you get the results in about a week to 2 weeks, so it's pretty quick. If you're sampling multiple locations, it's cheaper only in that you don't have to do additional blank samples, you just have one.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion that,
Does anyone else have anything? No?
I'd like to make a motion that we go into executive session for potential litigation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.